everyone, and welcome to the Academic Success Workshop, also known as ASW. My name is Akadina, and I'm a General Counselor at Oxnard College. First and foremost, I'd like to express that I appreciate you taking time out of your day to complete this workshop, as it's one of the requirements for students on probation and dismissal. And I would really just like to say that I don't like the words probation or dismissal because it sounds really negative, almost like a punishment, and that's not at all what this is supposed to be. The point of the college placing students on probation or dismissal is so that we can interject and see how we can help. It's more of a, hey, I can see you've been struggling. Come on in and tell us what's going on and how we can better help you be successful in reaching your goals. That said, let's get started. We will cover a number of important topics today, including academic standing, academic probation, progress probation, dismissal, consequences of probation, and rerouting back to success. What does it mean to be in good standing? Before we answer this question, I want you to know that being on probation with a college is different than being on probation with financial aid. Although very similar, they are two different things. There are some cases where a student may be on probation with the college, which is what you're doing this workshop for, but not on probation with financial aid. I just want to bring this up because the financial aid office has their own academic standing requirements and probation requirements. Please consult with the financial aid office if you are also on financial aid probation. For the college, good standing is determined by a combination of two factors, GPA and the percentage of units you have successfully completed. The first factor, GPA, requires that you maintain a cumulative GPA of 2.0 or higher. Here, cumulative GPA refers to all of the grades you have received from Oxnard College, Ventura College, and Moorpark College. The second factor, percentage of units completed, requires that you complete more than 50% of the units you attempt. If you meet both of these requirements, then you're in good standing. On the flip side, if you don't meet either or both of these requirements, you will be placed on probation. As there are two factors to good standing, there are two types of probation for when a student doesn't meet either of those factors. On the left side, we have academic probation and dismissal, and on the right side, we have progress probation and dismissal. Let's use Peter as an example to better help in understanding the difference. Peter has just completed his first semester ever in college. Let's first take a look at academic probation and dismissal on the left-hand side. You will see that Peter has received a D in English R101, a D in Math R105, a C in Sociology R101, and a C in Political Science R101. This is Peter's first semester in college, so his cumulative GPA is 1.43. This means that this is Peter's first time earning a cumulative GPA below the 2.0 requirement. As a result, he will be placed on academic probation 1. The next semester, Peter performs the same and earns similar grades. Now that Peter has not met the cumulative GPA requirement of 2.0 or higher 2 semesters in a row, he will be placed on academic probation 2. A third semester goes by and he performs the same. Now Peter will be placed on academic dismissal. Now let's take a look at progress probation and dismissal on the right-hand side. We have a brand new Peter who just finished his first semester ever in college. You can see that Peter has earned a W in English R101, an A in Math R105, a W in Sociology R101, and an NP in Political Science R101. Since Peter earned an A in the only class for which he's graded, he technically has a perfect 4.0 cumulative GPA. But does that mean he met the more than 50% unit completion requirement? The answer is no. Peter will be placed on Progress Probation 1 for completing only 4 of the 14 units he has ever attempted, which is equivalent to 29% completion. If Peter continues to drop more courses than he completes, he will be placed on Progress Probation 2 at the end of his second semester and Progress Dismissal at the end of his third semester. What are some consequences of probation? For starters, students on probation have a later registration date. This means that students who are in good standing get to register for classes first. Additionally, probation limits enrollment to a certain number of units. The system will prevent students on probation 1 from registering for more than 12 units, prevent students on probation 2 from registering for more than 6 units, and prevent students on dismissal from registering for any units. If you truly believe that you will perform better next term and want to take more units than the system currently allows, see a counselor. It's important that you do this early on so that you're able to register for classes by the time your registration date arrives. Depending on your conversation with a counselor regarding your reasons for not being in good standing, your circumstances at the time, and the changes you've made since, the counselor may approve for you to take more units, even if you're on dismissal. So see a counselor as soon as possible. Another consequence of probation is loss of eligibility for financial aid. Your financial aid package consists of different types of aid, including grants, fee waivers, scholarships, and loans. I just want to highlight one type of aid known as the California College Promise Grant, which used to be called the BOG fee waiver. This is the fee waiver that waives your $46 per unit fee. If you've been receiving the California College Promise Grant or the BOG fee waiver, you hadn't needed to pay for your classes. If you're on probation 2 or dismissal, you will now need to pay for your classes, or you can appeal in order to be eligible for the aid again. Financial aid is different for everyone depending on household income, number of people in the family, residency, and much more. That's why it's really important that you stop by the financial aid office and ask them about your status. I want to encourage all of you to ask the financial aid office about where you stand and how to appeal if you're no longer eligible. If you don't put some time aside to at least ask a few questions and complete the process, you're missing out on free money that can seriously help you out in your time as a student. We want you to ask questions because we don't expect you to be the expert on financial aid or other college processes, but we do expect you to ask the experts. There are 2 ways to rapidly bring up your GPA, especially when you're trying to come off of academic probation or academic dismissal. The first is to repeat classes for which you received grades of D's or F's. Repeating your class will replace the old grade with the new grade in your GPA. So imagine you have taken 12 units, which is about 4 classes, and got F's in all of them. The next semester, you retake the same exact classes and get all A's. Your GPA will jump from 0 to 4.0 in a matter of a semester. In another scenario, if you got F's in the 4 classes and retook totally different 4 classes the next semester and got all A's in those, all of the grades you have earned thus far would average out. So now you would have a 2.0 GPA. Of course, you shouldn't repeat classes if you no longer need them. For example, imagine you were a fire technology major when you first started out in college and got 3 F's in fire technology classes. A year later, you decide to change your major to philosophy. Now, you no longer need those fire technology courses. Should you repeat them because you got bad grades? No, only repeat classes that you actually need. In this situation, you may be eligible to take advantage of something called academic renewal, which is the second way of raising your GPA quickly. Academic renewal will allow you to remove up to 24 units worth of D's and F's from your GPA. A counselor will determine if you meet the following requirements to file for academic renewal. First, a year must have passed since you received the grade you are trying to remove. Second, you must meet one of the 3 GPA requirements. You must have either earned a 3.0 in the last 12 units, a 2.5 in the last 15 units, or a 2.0 in the last 24 units. If you meet both of these requirements, the counselor will sign your form and the Admissions and Records Office will make the changes to your transcript and GPA. Please be mindful that all of the classes you have ever attempted will appear on your transcript. However, after repeating a class or filing for academic renewal, a notation on your transcript will indicate that the course is exempt from your GPA. You're allowed to attempt a class up to 3 times. After the 3rd time, you're no longer able to take the class in VCCCD and will have to take it outside the district. For example, imagine I took English R101 at Oxnard College and withdrew from the class and earned a W. The next semester, I retook the same class at Ventura College and this time earned an F. Sometime later, I took the class again at Oxnard College and earned a D. I need at least a C in this class. Now that I have attempted it 3 times, I will have to take the class at a college other than Oxnard College, Ventura College, and Moorpark College. If you're in this predicament and you had an extenuating circumstance at the time you were taking the course, please see a counselor. You can petition to take the class for a 4th time if your petition is approved. The petition is not easily approved, so try to avoid attempting a class too many times and be mindful of drop deadlines. Progress probation and dismissal have fewer tricks and hacks. The only way to come off of progress probation or dismissal is to complete anywhere between 75% to 100% of the units you attempt. This means you need to get more graded units than you do W's, I's, or NP's. W, as you may already know, stands for withdrawal. I stands for incomplete. If you're suddenly no longer able to complete the term, you may ask your professor to give you a grade of I. After receiving an I, you have a year to submit the remainder of the work. The professor will then either change your grade to the new and improved grade, or if you didn't submit the work in the year period, the professor will grant you the grade you had at the time you requested the I. NP stands for no pass. EW stands for excused withdrawal. You may request an excused withdrawal if you are undergoing extenuating circumstances and can no longer complete the term. EW will not count towards your 3 attempts or affect probation for the college, but it will affect probation for the financial aid office. MW stands for military withdrawal. This is for when students who are members of active or reserve U.S. military service receive orders compelling withdrawal from classes. MW will not affect the student's 3 attempt limit or probation of any kind. Some strategies for change include applying time management skills, prioritizing tasks that are urgent and important, limiting the number of units you take if you know your other commitments will interfere with your academics, increasing your study time, reducing your work hours if you're able, using the LLRC especially for tutoring, utilizing your professor office hours, seeing a counselor each semester, and being mindful of drop deadlines. Here is an average breakdown of how much time a student dedicates to their academics based on units each week. If you look at the first row, you'll see that for a 1-unit course, a student will spend about 1 hour in class and 2 hours outside of class, whether that means preparing for class, doing homework, reading, projects, etc., which equals to 3 hours a week dedicated to that class in total. For a 12-unit load, the student will spend about 12 hours in class and 24 hours outside of class doing work for those classes, which is a total of 36 hours dedicated to class and academics each week. That's why a student is classified as a full-time student when they are enrolled in at least 12 units. Now, this is just an average. There may be a class where you find more challenging and therefore spend more time studying, and vice versa. It's just an average to give you an idea. The following are some resources I just want to briefly mention. If any of them are of interest, please stop by their department or see a counselor to ask for details. The first is counseling, which for obvious and biased reasons is my favorite. As mentioned, please see a counselor at least once a semester to make sure you're on track. Sometimes requirements change and the information may not reach you in time unless you see a counselor. If you're planning to transfer to a university to eventually earn your bachelor's degree, I highly recommend you stop by the transfer center. Remember, you apply for transfer a year before you actually start at the university. So this is a good time to stop by and ask questions about transfer requirements and timeline. Students in EOPS, CARE, and CalWORKs all get priority enrollment dates, so if you qualify, you should check them out. EOPS provides services to low-income and educationally disadvantaged students. CARE is an educational support assistance program for parents who are single heads of household and have children under the age of 18. CalWORKs is a state-mandated program that provides educational and training assistance to student parents who are receiving TANF benefits. EAC, or the Educational Assistance Center, provides specialized counseling, exemplary instruction, support services, and access to students with disabilities. If you have a disability or had a 504 or IEP in high school, you should definitely check out the EAC as you may be eligible for accommodations. Additionally, students who are part of EAC have priority enrollment, which means they get to register for classes before everyone else. The Veteran Center provides support services including counseling, applying for VA educational benefits, campus and community referrals, and much more. Athletic department consists of a broad-based, diverse, and gender-equitable program that provides support for our student athletes. Professors are a great resource, not just in the classroom, but outside of class as well. Every professor at Oxnard College has dedicated office hours for students to drop by or email them. You can use this time to go over an assignment, discuss a paper, or clarify a concept you didn't quite grasp in class. The course syllabus protects you and the professor as it's your agreement with your professor. Some refer to the course syllabus as a contract, so it's highly recommended you review each one thoroughly. The Library Resource Center provides quick workshops and tutoring should you ever need any additional support in your academics. Personal growth courses, or PG courses, are often taught by counselors to help you brush up on career exploration, time management, study skills, and much more. These are just a few important dates from Spring 2020's academic calendar that I'll be using as an example. You should check these dates every semester so that you can make decisions accordingly. Notice that the Spring 2020 semester began January 6th, and the first drop deadline was 11 days later on January 17th. If you enrolled in a regular semester-length class and dropped it by January 17th, it would be as if you never enrolled in the class at all. It would not appear on your transcript, it would not count as an attempt, and you would get fully refunded. If you dropped the class after the 17th, but before the 24th, it would still not appear on your transcript or count as an attempt, but you would no longer get refunded for the course. I want you to get in the habit of applying for financial aid by March 2nd, an academic year in advance. For example, if you're planning to take classes for fall 2021, you should apply for financial aid anytime between October 1st, 2020 to March 2nd, 2021. Although you may receive financial aid even if you apply after March 2nd, you're eligible for more financial aid opportunities if you apply by the March 2nd deadline. If you're planning to transfer, then you will definitely have to apply by March 2nd. March 5th was the deadline to apply for graduation that spring. If you came in anytime after that deadline during spring 2020, you could no longer apply as a spring 2020 graduate and would be considered a summer 2020 graduate instead. Make sure to apply for graduation before the deadline your last semester at Oxnard College. April 17th was the last day you could have dropped a semester-length class with a W. If you weren't performing as well as you'd hoped and wanted to drop a class with a W on April 18th, the system would no longer allow you and you would end up with a grade for that class. The next step is to enroll in PGR 820. This is a pass, no pass, 0-unit class that only takes place once for 2 hours and 50 minutes. It's totally free and doesn't utilize any financial aid. You can enroll in this class the same way you enroll for any other class through your student portal. Congratulations, you have officially completed the ASW. Melissa Garcia and myself are the two counselors here to help with any questions or concerns that you may have, and we'll be prioritizing you over other students, so please don't hesitate to reach out. And reach out early because it gets extremely busy around registration time. We are the most available during the months of September and February. Until we meet, have a wonderful day, and I wish you success in all your educational endeavors.